My father's laugh cut through the clinking of crystal glasses. "You really think you belong here?" My sister leaned in, her perfume drowning in something sharper. "She smells like pig manure," she whispered, just loud enough for the table to chuckle. The waiter froze mid-step. Then the restaurant manager appeared, bowing slightly. "Welcome back, Miss Hannah. Your usual table is ready." My father choked on his wine. Hashtag 2 years earlier. The first time I sat at this table, I wasn't a Miss Hannah. I was just Hannah, the farm girl who wore department store dresses and nervously checked price tags before ordering. It was my father's birthday. I'd scraped together 2 months' savings just to treat them here. He'd arrived with my stepmother, my perfect sister, in tow, the kind of beauty that photographs couldn't quite catch. They smiled, but not at me. Their smiles were meant for each other. That night, my father barely touched the meal I'd paid for. He spent more time discussing my unrealistic career ideas and reminding me that success isn't for everyone. Back then, I thought his coldness was just his way. I didn't realize it was the first layer of a wall he'd been building for years. Hashtag the betrayal. 6 months later, I found out where my college savings had gone. Not stolen, reallocated, my father's word. To help your sister with her startup. She's got real potential, Hannah. You wouldn't understand. The account I'd been contributing to since I was 17, gone. Every cent of my waitressing tips and holiday bonuses, gone. I didn't cry in front of him. I didn't scream. I went home, locked the door, and sat in the dark until the silence stopped feeling like a weight and started feeling like a weapon. Hashtag the plan. I could have taken him to court. I didn't. Court would have given him the satisfaction of seeing me beg for what was mine. Instead, I found another way. First step, work in silence. I quit my job at the cafe and started working at the very restaurant he liked to brag about. Not as a waitress, but as a hostess. That's how I met the owner, Mr. Lang. I learned which wines my father ordered, who he dined with, and how much he liked to spend. Second step, position myself. Mr. Lang owned more than this restaurant. He had properties, investments, and, as it turned out, a vacancy for an assistant. I took the job. For the next year, I learned everything. Contracts, client negotiations, the kind of wealth that wasn't loud but permanent. Third step, own something. With the money I was earning, far more than my father assumed, I bought into one of Mr. Lang's smaller ventures. Quietly. No big announcements. Hashtag the invitation. When Mr. Lang retired, he sold the restaurant. Not to a stranger, to me. It wasn't charity. I'd earned every share, every signature, every piece of this place. I kept the staff, the recipes, the wine list. I changed one thing, the reservation policy. Only members or guests of members could dine here now. So when I sent the invitation to my father, under my restaurant's letterhead, I knew he wouldn't decline. He loved to show off. Hashtag the confrontation. Tonight, they'd walked in as though they owned the air. My father's suit was sharp. My sister's dress glittered like champagne. They hadn't noticed me yet when they made their little jokes. But the moment the manager addressed me, Miss Hannah, the air shifted. My father's glass trembled. "Our usual table?" I asked, keeping my voice polite, professional. "Yes, Miss Hannah." We walked past their table. I didn't glance back. Halfway through my meal, I heard them being told there'd been a mistake. Their reservation was under guest of member. The member, however, hadn't arrived. Without me, they couldn't be seated. Hashtag the downfall. I waited until they were halfway out the door before I stood. "Dad," I called softly. He turned. His eyes were smaller than I remembered. "This is your place?" he asked. I smiled. "It is. Bought it last year." My sister shifted uncomfortably. The silence between us was thick. "You really think you belong here?" He tried again, but this time his voice cracked. I leaned closer. I don't think, Dad. I own here. #the release. They left without eating. I sat back down, swirling my wine, feeling the weight of years slide off my shoulders. No yelling, no revenge he could point to as cruel. Just the quiet fact that I had built something without him, and he could never sit at my table again unless I allowed it. Justice didn't need to be loud. It just needed to be final.